Hi, friends. My name is Edie Summers, and I run this site and channel, My Daily Well. Of course, the overall tag is Wellbeing TV, but I wanted to share with you that I'm starting a new series. It's called My Holistic Life, and it's sharing my journey into discovering how holistic wellness and living a holistic lifestyle, living a healthy lifestyle helped to improve my energy from chronic fatigue, my overall well-being, and really kind of change the course of my life, even how I work. I work in a very holistic way, and I'm a big proponent of living holistically on all levels, even discovering holistic beauty products. I'll be sharing some holistic beauty product reviews, and of course, just sharing kind of a vlog style of living a holistic lifestyle really looks like. For me, it's a way of life, and it's really saved my energy and life and well-being. So for this first episode, I just want to share a little bit about who I am and what my backstory is. Of course, if you're finding this on my YouTube channel, that handle is at My Daily Well. And I think that is still a really good handle and overall title for my channel, along, of course, with the overarching concept of well-being TV, because I'm all about well-being. My Daily Well kind of comes from making those daily choices of well-being that can add up and make a difference in your health and well-being and energy. But starting this new chapter and new segment, My Holistic Life, I want to share kind of like the inside scoop and inside journey of what my life looks like living holistically, really embracing holistic living, embracing holistic wellness. I do create and share a lot of meditation videos, yoga videos, mind body fitness videos. I will continue to do those. Some of those will also be tagged as My Holistic Life. So I encourage you to check out my channel here in general, because I have so much content that is created and designed around living a holistic lifestyle, and living and kind of coming from that place of holistic wellness. So the reason I got into this is because I developed chronic fatigue in my early 20s. I was 22 years old. I was super young, and I was really just kind of learning to get a foothold in my life in general. I was very active. I was a dance major at the time, and I went skiing and I broke my knee. It's a really long story, and I do share my story along with all of the tactics that help me recover my energy and well-being in my book. You'll see that there on my screen, the Memory of Health book. It takes a real deep dive into holistic wellness, and of course also shares my story and memoir. But I developed chronic fatigue after having that ski accident, and then I had subsequent arthroscopic surgery. And that surgery, I think, was really hard on my body. It's really hard to tell exactly what caused my chronic fatigue. I'm still not really sure whether it was the stress of the accident, the stress of the surgery, or both. But something changed in my wellness and health fundamentally. I developed chronic fatigue. And this was a real bummer at the age of 22, for several reasons. And another part of my story that I take a deep dive into my book, and I'll share a little bit of it here, is that I was also in physical therapy when I broke my knee. And after about 9 months of physical therapy, my leg was only about here. It was about 90 degrees. And I was a dance major at the time. They told me I wouldn't get it back down past 90 degrees. So when I first started physical therapy for my knee, because I had surgery on it, you develop scar tissue when when you have arthroscopic surgery. My knee was straight. It was totally straight. I couldn't bend it at all. So then I got into physical therapy, and after 9 months, I could only bend my knee to about 90 degrees. And they told me, that's as far as you're going to get. And this was unacceptable to me in general, and definitely at the time, because I was a dance major and dance was a huge part of my life, and I couldn't imagine not dancing again. This is what started me on the path of looking for solutions. First, for my knee, I wanted to get my knee all the way back. And then on top of that, later, I did get my knee back. And I go into great detail in my book about how I got my knee back. And I'll share a little bit more here about that. But then on top of that, I also wanted to figure out how to resolve this newly developed symptom I had that I'd never had before of chronic fatigue. So I was sleeping 10 to 12 hours a day. My life was really, really fundamentally different after this ski accident and surgery. I went from being someone who had a lot of energy, no health issues, no wellness issues. I was kind of happy-go-lucky, just kind of cruising along in life. And then all of a sudden, bam, I lost use of my knee. I was exhausted all the time, and I was really, really scared for my future. So long story short, I want to share why holistic well-being is so important to me, and then I'll circle back to some of the ways that really helped me to get my knee all the way back. I was able to get it all the way back down. So I'll share a little bit more about that. And then that journey also helped me to discover the world of well-being, holistic well-being. But the reason holistic well-being is so important to me is because later down the road, I found out through working with a holistic practitioner and integrative doctor, someone who was trained in modern medicine, but also Chinese medicine and naturopathic medicine. So he had really good experience and training across the board in both alternative health and mainstream medicine, which I think is really important. He was able to determine that I also have a liver disorder, meaning that I don't process a lot of synthetic substances very well. And really what that means in a nutshell, and the reason I'm so into holistic wellness, holistic living, and kind of really needing to find alternative ways to manage my stress, improve my energy, and live a healthy lifestyle, is because I cannot process prescription drugs. My liver literally can't process them. I can't process a lot of synthetic chemicals that are everywhere right now. And did you know that so many synthetic chemicals aren't even tested? Especially when it comes to fragrances, you'd be really surprised and alarmed at all of the fragrances that are found in your lotions, your perfumes, your colognes, all of these products that we're using, beauty products. And this is one of the reasons I'm doing holistic beauty review products that you're going to see on here, and other types of videos that share why it's so important to me to live a holistic life, because it's made a huge, huge difference for my health and well-being and energy. Made a huge difference. So again, I personally cannot tolerate a lot of things that are offered in this modern world as like solutions, whether they're to health or beauty or synthetic chemicals, synthetic drugs. My body literally can't process them and tolerate them. They make me really sick, actually. So, and they drop my energy. They make it hard to sleep. They stress my body out. So a lot of these things I discovered after I developed chronic fatigue, but my liver disorder is something I've had my whole life. It's just that it became more prominent and I became aware of it. And then I was formally diagnosed with it along with CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, in my 30s, my mid 30s. But there is so much that I did to not only get my knee all the way back. It was holistic living and holistic wellness that allowed me to get my scar tissue all the way back down. This is one of the reasons I'm such a big proponent of it. And also because it helped to improve my energy and overall well-being dramatically. And that includes even brain fog. I hear so many, and sleeping better. I hear so many people talking today about how they can't sleep. They're exhausted, they're burned out, they have brain fog. Whether or not you have chronic fatigue due to a health issue like chronic fatigue syndrome, or maybe you have chronic fatigue due to burnout, or maybe you're facing some other health or wellness challenge, or you've been through trauma, or you're just interested in improving your health and wellness holistically for whatever reason, fertility, to live better and longer. There are so many reasons to learn about holistic wellness and living a healthy lifestyle and living a holistic lifestyle. So I just want to share more of my journey in case any of it resonates with you. And if you want to take a deep dive into any of these subjects, check out my book, The Memory of Health. It takes a deep dive into holistic well-being, whether that's to improve your energy or to manage your stress better. I also share my personal memoir in there, plus a ton of research on what's going to help improve energy, some of the causes of chronic fatigue, what's contributing to stress in the world, what's going to help you recover from trauma. It's called traumatic resilience, by the way. I take a deep dive into all things holistic well-being. So I encourage you to check out my book. It took me 10 years to write. It's called The Memory of Health. Here's my book right here. Maybe you can see it on the screen. The Memory of Health. And you can kind of see that. It looks like a tunnel. The guy who did the cover, Richard Crooks, I hope you can see this. Isn't that beautiful? It's a beautiful cover. He had chronic fatigue himself. And he had it for a different reason than I did. But he made this beautiful, beautiful cover. It looks like you're traveling down through a tunnel and then traveling and heading toward the light. So this is my book. Here's the spine of it. It's a beautiful spine. He did a beautiful job on this book and cover. He also created the back. Look how beautiful that back is. So you're going to find this book. You can find it on lulu.com in color, exclusively on lulu.com. And my book is all about holistic well-being. It's called The Memory of Health, in case you happen to be listening to this as a podcast. And on lulu.com, it's available in color interior only. So only on lulu.com can you find it there. Down the road, I might be able to tag it here on YouTube. But I just wanted to share more of my story. So let me share a little bit more about how I got my knee all the way back down and how I started to improve my energy holistically. And again, this is a new series that I'm starting, kind of an inside look at my holistic life. It's an extension of my brand, My Daily Well, which is the brand that's connected with my YouTube channel. Of course, my overarching theme is well-being TV. I really want to create a wellness channel for you, and I have. So a place that you can come to find all about holistic living, living a healthier lifestyle, practicing more self-care and stress management. I have a ton of meditation videos on here. You can even practice meditation just by watching a video that I've created for you and listening to the music. It can really help you relax. And I have some really beautiful visual elements. Of course, I also have a lot of yoga videos on here where you can practice yoga with me. I'm also a bar instructor. I'm also a dance fitness instructor because, as I mentioned, back in the day, I was a dance major. I was actually a professional dancer for 10 years. So I did get my knee back all the way. And I went on to become a professional dancer for 10 years. And I also got into the natural foods industry because I was able to get my knee back all the way and my energy by exploring holistic wellness. So let me share a little bit more about that story. So I was in physical therapy. I had been there for 9 months and my knee was stuck at 90 degrees. And they told me that's as far as you're going to get. And this was unacceptable to me. It was unacceptable to me. And I think it's really important to remember this, that whenever someone tells you that this is what your fate is going to be, they're probably talking about a bell curve. And that means that there are people that are on different parts of that bell curve, and never take at face value what someone says to you. Always take your health into your own hands. Take your life into your own hands. There's so much more that you can do than you realize. So for me, I had to find alternative ways to get my knee back. So I started looking around. I don't remember how I found the naturopathic doctor that I did, but thank goodness I did, because I probably found him through the phone book or maybe in a holistic magazine that I found somewhere as an advertisement. This was back in 1992. But somehow I found him, and the first person that I visited helped me so much. First of all, he listened to me. He talked to me and helped me. I had an hour and a half consultation with him, and he was laser focused on me. He listened to my story, and he started prescribing to me some natural solutions to start getting my scar tissue down more, because it turns out, this is something I figured out later, but because of my liver disorder, I was having a really bad reaction to all of the anti-inflammatories that they had me on in physical therapy. I was taking like 6 to 8 ibuprofen a day, and I started having a bad reaction to them. it started creating inflammation in my body because I was sensitive to the ibuprofen. And so I couldn't move through any more of the scar tissue because my body was creating inflammation from taking so many of these anti-inflammatories. Earlier, before that, I was on prescription painkillers because of surgery. And that's a whole other topic, an experience that I had. And you can read about that in my book, The Memory of Health. I go into great detail about what happened to me when I took those prescription painkillers. But in physical therapy, even the ibuprofen that they were prescribing to me didn't work anymore. So they prescribed to me a prescription anti-inflammatory. And this is really where things got worse for me. It's now sold over the counter as Aleve. And I'm not knocking any prescription, or any drug or anything. I'm not knocking anything because different things work for different people. Your journey is going to look different than my journey. Your story is different than my story. But this is my wellness story and my wellness journey. For me, the prescription anti-inflammatory didn't work. I think it's called naproxen. I had a really, really bad reaction to it. And I literally wasn't able to make any more progress in physical therapy. So literally my knee was stuck at 90 degrees. I remember there was another guy in physical therapy with me, and he was a police officer, and his knee was also at 90 degrees. And he was excited that it was at 90 degrees because all he wanted to do was ride his motorcycle again. He had been in an accident. He was in a high-speed chase. He was in the front of the car. And they were chasing someone, and they went through a building, like the front of a building. And that's how he damaged his knee. So for him, it was okay to be at 90 degrees because all he wanted to do was ride his motorcycle. But for me, it was unacceptable because I was a dance major. I wanted to dance again. And so thankfully, finding the naturopath made a huge difference for me. And this was the beginning of my journey into holistic well-being. This was the beginning of my journey into my own holistic life and my own story with finding my way back to well. And so I really want to share this with you because it made a huge difference. He prescribed certain things to me like arnica to rub on top of my knee to get the inflammation down. Now, I took myself off of any anti-inflammatories that I was on because I was having such a bad reaction to them. And then he sent me to the natural food store. It was the first time I'd ever been in there. It changed my world. I ended up working in the store because what he had me pick up in the store, like these are like natural enzymes that if you take them on an empty stomach, they can help reduce inflammation in your body, like papaya enzyme, bromelain, things like that. I also got devil's claw. All of these things that he recommended to me helped me be able to get my scar tissue all the way back down. Now, I also had to continue to work on the scar tissue myself. I was really, really dedicated to getting it down. But taking myself off of the anti-inflammatories that I was on, that I was prescribed to, that weren't working for me personally, and then using the natural supplements and protocol that he recommended to me, the naturopath, in addition to always working on my scar tissue, I'd work on it in physical therapy and at my house. I would scoot up against the wall and put my leg up against the wall, and then I'd push it down with my other leg, push, 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 and move through that scar tissue. So it was a real dedication on my part. But the natural protocol that the naturopath prescribed to me also made a huge, huge difference. And I got my knee all the way back. And then it took about a year after that to rehab my knee to get my muscles back. It was really hard to walk at first. And it was a huge, huge process to recover, but I did it. And then later I became a professional dancer, and I even started dancing and putting on showcases at the university where I was going to. So there's a lot to my story as far as that goes, but I did also start working in that natural food store, the very one that I went into for that first time. And since I was able to get my knee all the way back, I thought to myself, well, this is a place I want to work because I want to learn more about what it is that helped me, and maybe it can help me more, including with my energy and chronic fatigue. And it did. And that's a whole other story. Again, I take a deep dive into that into my book, The Memory of Health. And again, you can check it out and get the gift edition version on lulu.com. Just type in Edie Summers, The Memory of Health. Lulu.com has it. It's a beautiful, gorgeous edition in color. Of course, it's also available in black and white across all platforms like Walmart and Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But here's a tip. If you do get the book, DM me across any social media platform, or email me, ediesummers@gmail.com, and send me your receipt, and I'll send you the PDF version of my book. So it has hundreds of clickable links, including to all the research and resources that I gathered and found over 10 years for you that take a deep dive into holistic well-being and chronic fatigue research and traumatic resilience and so much more. If you want the PDF version, like the ebook version, where you can literally click on the links and follow the research very easily, it's also in color. DM me your receipt, send it to me, and I'll send you the PDF version or the ebook version. So there's so much more I can share, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more videos that with the tag My Holistic Life. Feel free to share your experience with holistic living, holistic wellness, or living a healthy lifestyle. I'm particularly interested in holistic living, but of course I'm interested in any experience that you might have. And again, I'm starting a new kind of vlog series. You might hear this also as a podcast. It's called, the hashtag is My Holistic Life. And I'm going to be sharing it in different formats, stories, videos, even some product reviews, different ways. I'm going to share everything that has to do with my holistic life, what's made a difference for me. Thank you so much for listening, and feel free to share your experience and your wellness journey. I would love to hear it. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.